Hey bro, what's up? This is Major TV. Let's talk. I want to do a topic about systemic racism, institutional racism. You hear it a lot, and people kind of run over it and say it so much that the Pacific's not always mentioned as much. And I wanted to read definition of it, right? That makes somewhat kind of sense to what I'm talking about. What is systemic racism? Institutional racism. Institutional racism is the form of racism that is embodied as a normal practice within society or an organization. It can lead to such issues as discrimination in criminal justice, employment, housing, healthcare, political power, and education, among other issues. And when you think about all that covers a lot. But I think what should be mentioned particularly is how it affects you, the way you think, what you believe in, knowing not to go this way but that way, knowing if you say the wrong thing, how you come back to bite you, knowing that if you put yourself in a position that you can be criminally charged, beaten or possibly killed without even causing any of these problems. I feel that within itself should speak more about the effects of it than the definition. Because when you house all this up, it's still an issue, whereas you have people that's being discriminated against. And what I mean discriminated against? What I mean is you're being told stay right here. And as far as you can go, it's right there. And whenever you go outside, they circle you in a box or square, what have you, you get checkmated. You get checked, put in your place, and told get over there. Systemic racism is powerful because it's a system whereas it has been established that white people will enjoy this much, while you, black people and people of color, will enjoy this much. If you say anything, they will try to take you down. When you look at even the religion that we have been given and how it's been whitewashed, right? When you look at education system, how it's been wrote and whitewashed. When you look at art, when you look at politics, when you look at so many things that basically was inspired, learned, and came from the motherland, been whitewashed and given to you in their version. And you grew up for a very long time believing things that was lies. Like you would see Tarzan in the jungle. You was like, why is this white man in Africa making a loud noise, swinging on a rope and commanding the jungle to get behind him? When you look at situations whereas you're going to church and you still see white Jesus, you know. the lie that's been told us, you know. It's powerful how your mind can just be subjugated, enticed, influenced, and manipulated. And then you have the whites that's also going through the same psychosis of being brainwashed. Growing up hating you, growing up thinking that you are the worst person in the world, that you're supposed to be subjugated, you're supposed to be enslaved, you're supposed to be dealt with. It's crazy. It's really deep. Like when you just think about it. I remember reading this book by Carter G. Wilson, right? Years ago. He wrote a book called Miseducation of the Negro. And that would inspire that really inspired like Negro Week and Black History Month, his book. And at this time I believe it was a principal, right? And he wrote, and I remember this clear as day. He said, all people, and I'm paraphrasing, right? Whether you're mom, dad, teacher, doctor, lawyer, what have you, everything you've been told was a lie. When he wrote the book wasn't about this big, it wasn't that long. I don't think it was 100 pages, right? And when I looked at his history and whatnot, I mean, like, he got tried and convicted by public opinion among whites. In his life, from what I learned, was pure hell. He could never teach an education system and could never make strides because of him revealing that. And when I think about institutional racism, systemic racism, I think about how we put in a box. Whenever we say something, we put in check, right? You remember slavery when it was released? 8 acres and a mule, I believe. 8 acres and a mule, what have you. That's so long ago, but you know, you hear it all the time, right? And we was never, the problem, the treaty of promise that was given, it didn't work out. The Freedom Bank, supposed to be for former slaves, you know, they had definitely robbed us a lot of money. That thing couldn't get off the ground at all. You think about when we really started getting on our feet, right? Be able to buy homes and get things together. The red line kicked in, the predatory lending and what have you. But people couldn't live over here. We had to go live over there. Why? Because white people still over here. There's more going on and more safety here over here. So I worry about flooding, right? I mean, I remember I did a paper when I was in college, I think 10 years ago, and it was speaking about, it was longer than 10, I'm gonna say about like 14, 15 years ago. And it was talking about Katrina and whatnot. There was a black professor, when I was doing my research, he was saying that, he was talking about Katrina, he was talking about Katrina. I wrote a paper about Katrina, I was doing research. He was like, everybody knew already about the predatory lending that was done in Louisiana, particularly New Orleans, in reference to areas where it wasn't no flood problem. They would deny blacks loans in the area. But in like the Lower Ninth Ward and what have you, areas where they had a real strong possibility of a flood surge due to a hurricane and whatnot, they would approve a loan over there. This professor says it's been going on. And we could talk about the businesses, housing, what have you. We was denied loans and was repeatedly rejected. And when you look at the education system, right, and how for a very long time black people experienced poor education, even today, you know, it's still sad, right? But back then it was so bad. And I think about what former Justice Thurgood Marshall, which was attorney and part of NAACP, how you use the equal but separate law to show, well, okay, if it's equal but separate, so whites still have, they have a nice school, then blacks over here should have a nice school. And the whole theory was behind, they know the states couldn't pay for both races, black, white. They have good schools, so it was forced to integrate, you know what I'm saying? And it's funny how I learned through history. Even my own switch when I had legal when I was younger. You had to learn the law, which was never created for you. The Constitution was never created for you. You had to learn the Constitution, right? And then you had to turn around and throw in their face things that they said as a violation of the Constitution and state law. And then you get relief. And the brilliant idea of what Thurgood Marshall did and other civil rights attorneys during that time was just crazy. Like, it was just very, very smart. And when I think about institutional racism, systemic racism, I think about, like, I be driving trucks, I go to warehouses, go to stores, neighborhoods be predominantly black. Stores be predominantly black. You see a white person running. I think about when I was growing up, right? And I was growing like in the 80s, really. I don't call it 70s, 80s. Only time we seen a black person on TV is when a crime was being committed or when there was an athlete. A lawyer, doctor, when you see them, it was just, you couldn't even relate, understand it, you know, because you play sports in the neighborhood. You know, you're seeing a little crime or whatever, or you did a little dirt, smoked a little weed, what have you. And it was crazy that there were so many successful black people that could not even come across their screen because it was intentionally, the media was intentionally preventing the show any good people come out of the black community and that really can inspire, blacks to want to be some other than a criminal athlete. Employ them as well. I mean, you want to drive, drivers say this, truck drivers. They see how whites get on the, I never had a CB, but I heard how white would get out here and call black people and people of color N-word. I'm like, wow, I don't want no CB because I never had no white guy call me no N-word or what have you. And I be hearing about how they be roasting and trolling guys that be having podcasts and whatnot, you know what I'm saying? So that's new, and I'm kind of like, man, I ain't about that, but I understand where we're living. We do have cowards out here. But, I be hearing, I mean, you see how when you see a white man cut up on a black or white person at a warehouse, they'll be kissing booty. As soon as a black person get loud, you ready to call 911. Oh, that's systemic, man. You know what I'm saying? We are treated like second-class citizens. If we have a little money, yeah, we're gonna get some respect. You know, oh yes, sir. No, ma'am. We get put on the pole by the police, you know how that go. They don't really care. I mean, it's been shown in different states recently. I was listening to news. It was like in certain states, 3 out of 5 black men will be pulled over. Will be pulled over versus whites. You know, I'm like, wow. In some states, it's equal, but still, if it's equal, that's still a lot of black people pulling over. but 3 out of 5. And whenever you say something, they want you to shut up. Why you have to shut up? Why you can't say you're tired of BS and you're ready to speak your mind? You know, there's a lot I want to talk about, man. I'm all over the place with this because so much I want to say. I'm trying to watch the time, and I just want people to realize that people complain, black people complain, and white people complain about us talking about this. I'm not asking for you to give me a job, give me no money. I already have that. I'm not asking for you to do nothing special for me. It's asking for you to be real with yourself. Look at the situation and address it accordingly. Don't sit here and be trying to tell me this and tell me that when I know better. That's why I refuse to argue with anybody. I can't wait to start talking about how we can litigate claims and whatnot when they come down to our constitutional violation. I can't wait to talk about stuff like that. How we can fight it back. And again, our prayers, in fact, man, because we have people talking, we have people making moves and what have you, but we don't know nobody stand up talking about, you know, hey, you know, we can carry guns, it's legal, and we're going to start marching, and we're going to start letting our community know that we can do this. We can stand up, we can address real issues. And I can't help but to bring them up because it's inspiring, you know. I've been sitting on the sideline for a minute just listening to this person, listen to that person, but when things jump off, you get nothing but lip service. And you wonder, damn, who's going to be that person and what have you. Here this brother sacrifices his life. A lot of you sisters brother sacrificing his life. It make you look at yourself like, damn, man, you a man, no mouse. And you're hearing all the other stuff being said. And a lot of us speaking about the same thing. Now, a lot of us is on cold. I don't know how far we're willing to go, but it's really real, man. And I just feel like institutional racism, systemic racism, is a real thing. It operates invisibly and it operates visibly. Meaning sometimes you can see it and sometimes you can't. And it's such a norm now that whenever you see it, like you can have the Lil Waynes and say that there's no racism, when you can have Paulie Malignaggi on the Xbox say there's no racism, you really have to just take 2 steps back and just look at the world you live in. Because some people, because they haven't experienced it, or because some people, because they already in that white skin, they don't know how I really feel. It's easy for them to say that. And some black people that just had it better than others. It's easy to say that. I admire one thing, right? When I was listening to the Breakfast Club, I've been checking them out, you know. And they crazy as hell, but I love their platform and how they trying to push some real issues out, especially dealing with racism and discrimination and what have you, and just inform the community. Rush Limbaugh came on there, right? And this what conservatives have a real problem with telling black people, right? And they trap us with this. They set you up like saying, well, you know, like Rush Limbaugh was saying that that's, and most of the conservatives trying to say that's the Democrats using the racism thing and blah blah as a ploy to achieve their achieve their goal, right? Even if that's so, it don't deny the fact that racism doesn't exist. It does. But he was trying to say, well, look at y'all and how y'all did it, and he was talking about the American dream, what have you, and they immediately told him like, hey, yeah, we got through the crack, but a lot of sisters and brothers didn't get through the crack. They're being held back. And he really didn't want to hear it. In their mind, they really think, hey, you know, and don't get me wrong, there are opportunities out here. But I feel like people that really make it, like I was a bomb from the projects, right? And when you had a hard life, been in prison, whatever, and you've been into nonsense most of your life or exposed to nonsense, or just don't have that role model, that person in life, you know how special you gotta be. You know how deep you gotta go with just figuring this out. When you're not in the household that's teaching you the way of life, that's standing your behind and making sure, hey, this was going on, it would happen. Really putting that quality time. I know it's hard for some parents to do that with their kids. But really putting that quality time and showing them a way of life, they have a chance to possibly overcome the oppression. They have a chance to possibly overcome the racism. But for many of us, that's suffocated into the nonsense, how we get sucked up into, the drama, the toxic shit, reality TV and the media, and listen to music that's not even healthy. Like, I mean, for us to has been dealing with a generational handing down of bad habits, from handling money, from the way we think, to the moves we make. So hard for that person to do a 180 and be like, you know what, time for me to make that change. Yes, it's possible, but we better look back and see. You have a lot of people that don't own homes, a lot of black people that don't own homes, have bad credit, that don't know how to handle money. And a lot of it got to do with ignorance. But I feel like all that been inherited in our community. When there's very few jobs, when inflation and prices going up, when you got drugs and guns in your community, when your politicians come around every blue moon for a vote, you never see them no more, and your neighborhood still devastated with destruction, where you need some kind of housing reform, some kind of streets and roads reform, some kind of program to take the kids off the streets. You can expect a person to take a long time to really get it. So I really believe that systemic racism is real. I really believe that it affects our everyday life, how we manage our thoughts, what we do, the fears that we have inside, and sometimes we hold ourselves back, And I believe it can be so, And it's not hard when you're at the bottom to get discouraged once you get knocked off on your spot, especially when you're trying, So I just wanted to share another video, I'm saying? I'm trying to get a feel of what I'm doing and what have you. I know I want to say, I know what's on my mind, but I'm trying to get structure and whatnot. Leave a comment, if you like it. Hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I have some content, I have some stuff I want to talk about, and I know in due time you'll see the picture, the big picture that I'm trying to share. Just let me know what's up. Let's talk. Let's engage. Let's see what it's hitting for, and we'll take it from there. Take care. Have a blessed one.